40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. You know I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. I'm only 40%. Go. 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jinkx Monsoon, and welcome to a brand new episode of I'm 40% Podcast. With me, as always, is that mop-top little stinker who I
You
adore.
have all week to think of these. You have all week, and then you don't do anything. It's just the first thing that comes to your brain. Write a few down. Pick your favorite.
And today
The writers
our
are on
guest-
strike. That would be against the rules.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be
Today,
writing.
our guest.
Jinkx is not in the guild, by the way. She is allowed to write.
No, that would
Not
be
for
scabbing.
studios. You can
well,
write other things.
For myself.
Yeah, like in your diary.
Okay. Today, our guest is no stranger to podcasts. She's my boss on another network, and she's got a very successful podcast. Quite a few, actually. Race Chaser, Hot Goss. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah,
she's
there's
also
so
she's also just a really good friend of mine and a very talented entertainer. And a repeat guest here on I'm 40% Podcast is Alaska.
Oh, but you can just call me Mom.
I'm so glad you came on for a mom episode.
I know, and it's a good mom episode.
This was a good episode. I feel like we can officially say this is a good season, in my opinion.
Wait,
Yes.
Alaska hasn't said anything.
I'm glad it's a Mom episode too, because I mean, I think you, Jinkx, and Mom have a lot of parallels. You've done her, right?
Yes, I've kind of strong-armed my my close affiliation with Mom. I see a
Drag
mom
queens.
character, I claim it.
Drag queens are always worried about their strong hands.
Oh my god, I've been holding the mic the other way the whole time. Is this better?
Yeah, it sounded like shit till now, but it sounds pretty good now.
Had
Alaska,
it?
thank you for
Did
being
it really
here.
sound like shit?
It was pretty bad.
Crystal clarity.
Alaska, you are a rare repeat guest here on our Futurama podcast because you're a Futurama superfan. And
Yes.
we just really wanted your thoughts on this new season.
Well, I think it's good. I'm glad that it is back. I feel a little like, you know how Sex and the City did a reboot, and just like
What?
Did it
that.
ever?
I know, right? There's this show called Sex and the City, jeez.
Excuse me?
Uh,
No, I've seen it every episode of And Just Like That.
Yes.
It's one of those shows that is kind of like, if you don't watch it, you miss out on a big part of culture.
I agree.
And it's one that I can agree with, it's not Star Wars being forced upon me. At least it's just, I love women in the prime of their life.
Yes, exactly. And just like that, when they rebooted it, the first season was like, whoa, wait, what is happening here? Because so much time had passed, and they have to sort of get their bearings. So, but now the second season of And Just Like That is like so good. It feels like home. It's funny. It's great. I love it. So I feel like this first few episodes of Futurama, yeah, they're good, but I feel like they're still finding their footing a little bit. I don't know. Why are Fry and Leela a happy couple? That they need to break that shit up like Miranda and Che Diaz. They need to
Maybe
break
Che Diaz
up.
can come on this show.
Please.
I have been kind of enjoying that it's not the same old will they, won't they trope that we've seen so much, and that we're kind of seeing them navigate things as a couple. And they're a very modern couple. You know, they're like, they are very supportive of each other's stupid ideas. And I feel like they'd be polyamorous if they talked about it. You don't like seeing happy relationships.
I want Leela to be miserable. It just makes the show.
Can you agree?
The show better.
Well, Leela was pretty miserable this episode. I think we're getting plenty of Leela misery this season.
Can you agree that Leela's a little unhinged in this new iteration?
Well, she must be. I was like, at this episode, I was like, why is she moving in to Fry and Bender's apartment? Has she lost her mind?
But you've seen her apartment. It's just a white cube, remember?
This is, well...
I don't remember that, but okay.
We've seen Fry and Leela dating. And then we know that they, like, you know, spent their eternity, their lives together when the earth was frozen. Mm-hmm. They don't quite remember that, but they must have, like, an inert, like deeper affection for each other. So maybe we are finally seeing what Fry and Leela,
I ship them.
We're seeing what Big Freela is actually like as a couple.
Big Freela.
and maybe this is Leela meeting Fry halfway, you know? We should get into the episode.
Which, listen, for real life couples, I think that's all great. And that's all very reasonable and realistic.
For your fantasy, sci-fi,
for
animated...
a TV show, your characters have to kind of, you know, be, like, not unhappy a little bit.
Did you hate when Mr. Sheffield and Fran got together?
The show always goes downhill when the couple gets together.
It absolutely does.
Niles
That's why they
and
had
Daphne.
To break up. Yeah, Niles and Daphne. That's why they had to break up Ross and Rachel, because they were like, where do we go from here?
Diane and Sam. Like, it's... Like, you can't...
left the show.
Leela, please do not leave the show.
Katie Seagal, we know you listen to
need you.
Before we get into the beat by beat recap, I just real quick, I gotta do the soundboard suggestion, this new segment. By the way, last week I said, oh my gosh, I asked for soundboard suggestions and so many came in. Please stop sending me some. More came in, like more than before. I can't, it's an endless cycle. Please stop sending me soundboard suggestions. But a couple got through. Adjective Otter, as mentioned last week, suggested this one.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Oh, it's a little quiet. I might boost the audio on that one. We got Kay Harju wrote in and suggested this one, which will be very helpful for Jinkx.
Remember when I told you about always ending your stories a sentence earlier?
And then Justine had a couple of really, really good suggestions, but this one was the easiest to obtain with the hacking skills at my disposal. Is it not here? No, here it is.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Okay, great. That's the end of this segment. Please stop sending me soundboard suggestions. You can send me nudes because I'm looking at them in chronological order, and if the nudes are at the top, it will motivate me to like get through them all. That's all.
I hear that.
Do you send nudes back?
No, I'm married.
Wow.
So you're allowed to look.
Yeah. Okay, this episode...
It's for work. Babe, it's for work.
It's for work.
Babe, I'm checking my work emails.
Related to items you've viewed, original air date, August 21st, 2023. There's no cold open, but we do still have some weird pre-theme song music. Alaska, have you been noticing these weird little sound bites that are playing before the theme song starts every week?
Yeah, what does it mean? Is it a secret
We can't
message?
figure it out.
Is it different every week?
Mm-hmm. They seem really unrelated. A couple of them in a row were spooky, so I thought maybe there was something spooky happening, but this one was like a Ren fair. This one was very different.
We need someone with good computer skills to put the sound bites together and see what they create, because
mash them together.
Neither of us have the skills nor the drive, really.
The reason I think it is leading to something is we have another very mysterious Chiron. And this Chiron says, "We warned you, but you wouldn't listen." So this
And
could just be
you don't
an
think this
innocuous one,
Chiron
but we don't
is
know.
just related to the episode?
Maybe.
I thought it was about Futurama itself. Like we
we're-
told you, why do you keep asking this show to come back? That's what I thought it was.
Why do you keep canceling us?
All right.
Meanwhile, American Dad is in season 20?
I don't want to talk about American Dad anymore.
I still like it.
I like
that's
it.
fine.
I like
That's
it.
fine. Everyone is allowed to like whatever they
It's
like.
the one I wanted.
It's the one I wanted.
So I feel a little lost in the Chirons this season, so I'm just gonna give another 3 out of 5 Chirons. That's all I can do in this situation.
I'm giving it, I'm giving it 4 out of 5 Chirons.
Oh my.
No.
Alaska, what would you rate this Chiron out of 5 possible Chirons?
Yeah, it's a 3 out of 5.
Thank you, I agree. We open on Fry and Bender's apartment, a location that we really haven't seen in the later part of the show, so it's nice to go back there. And it turns out that we're seeing it again because this is the big day. Leela is moving in.
I like that they're just starting in the middle of this. Like, we don't have to see the conversation about it. I like when they just like give us, they know we're following along. And, with binge watching being such a prevalent thing these days.
I don't know what that was.
Like Amazon and Bitcoin. Current things.
So I like that they didn't waste any time with exposition because we know the trope, the girlfriend's moving in. I like finding out that Tinny Tim lives underneath them. I don't know how he can afford any apartment
In New York.
I like
It didn't look like an apartment, though. It looked like maybe like a broom closet.
like he's
I know they're all
crawled
that
into the
size.
walls.
I
Somehow.
think he lives in the walls. Yeah. Alaska, do you like Tinny Tim? I was happy to see him.
Yes, I like him. I think he's cool.
I liked his burn on England, just like the cold black snows of old England, or something like.
Yeah. So Bender insists that they celebrate their last moments of being bachelor roommates by having a cabbage fight. He has
One last cabbage fight.
One last cabbage fight.
Like,
That's
this
so
is an ongoing
disgusting.
thing. And he says, and I got some real rotten ones this time. Like,
So they have the cabbage fight. There's rotten cabbages everywhere. And Leela opens the door and says, wow, it's much cleaner than last time.
see, this
Brea-
is Leela. This is Leela meeting Fry halfway, She's...
Yeah. She set her expectations properly low.
In real life, love that. In a TV show, no. It makes no sense that she's moving into this dump. Also, I love that the cabbages come in a crate that says like Uncle Wilty's, like sunburnt, sun rotted, cabbages. Like you could just buy these.
There's some pretty immediate tension between the new roommates, Leela and Bender. And they're trying to make out on the couch. And they ask for privacy. And Bender says, I better not hear anything through the walls. And then he goes and cries very loudly in his room.
Now,
Can you take a hint? And he's like, yes, but I can't take a very direct request.
but I can't take a direct request. Now, I have a quick question about housemates, roommates, flatmates, and their PDAs. Now,
Yeah.
I wasn't home in San Francisco.
I don't want to talk about this.
I wasn't home at the time, but I heard of a time where 2 of the 3 roommates invited a
No.
friend over.
This is Kenneth telling you this story. And Kenneth very specifically told us that they were going to be out of town on this date.
Well, whatever.
And then
Alaska,
they weren't. And we had already invited our guest over, and he was staying for the weekend.
Alaska, how do you feel about housemates starting foreplay in common spaces.
Well, I mean, yeah, because they are sort of like making out. They're like
In a
it's-
shared space that's for everyone.
I
Like
know.
Fry has
so
a
like,
bedroom.
take it in the other room, bro.
Yeah. Have you lived with people who will just start sucking face? Like, I've lived with people who will like spoon intensely on the couch, and I'm kind of
That's
like,
fine.
You're one of
What's
those
on-
people.
I do not spoon intensely.
you spoon blithely.
There's two sardines in a can.
Well, it's New York. It's New York.
We don't even curve. We lay there straight as planks.
Look, I think we can agree the problem is not that Leela is living with Fry. It's that they're too old to have an additional roommate, I think.
Well, she also just moved in and is already bossing Bender around, right? Like
Right.
there's got to be a transitional period as it moves from being Bender and Fry's space to being Bender, Fry, and Leela's space, you know?
True.
Yes.
She should show some deference. I agree. But she doesn't do that. She orders hangers from Mamazon, and she also orders a shoe caddy. And when you order something from Mamazon, it comes in like a little drone instantly.
Instantly.
Yes, so fast.
I
Allegory for today.
I've often wondered, like, what would happen if, I don't know why I've often wondered this, but what would happen if Bender took off both feet at once and tried to walk around on those little noodle things?
often wondered this?
I know he's gotten his feet chopped off before and he's just fallen over, but I wanted to see him try to walk on those little things,
They're like
and I finally
screws.
got to see it.
He's like, I want to take part in this.
The next day at Planet Express, Bender's still crying, and everyone's just looking at him. And
There's something about the professor. I mean, the professor was just drawn. Now he is always drawn. But there was something about his expression while Bender was crying. It was just extra ambivalent. It was extra, like, just completely apathetic.
And Hermes comes in and he tells everyone that Planet Express is going out of business because they can't compete with Mamazon. But luckily,
Right.
they do have one delivery today. They have to haul a bunch of crap to the moon.
Yes. They're a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
They're a mom and pop independent business. The fact that they made it to
Taking
3023.
on a conglomerate that is disguised as a mom and pop business.
Right.
What's going to happen when mom dies?
Whoa. She'll
Is
never die. She's too
Igner-
rich.
Who's going to...
Dick Cheney's still alive. He doesn't even have a heart. You ever think about that?
There's
Sometimes
no
I'm
heart?
like, sometimes I'm like, maybe Trump will just like die because of his heart or whatever, and then I'm like, fuck, Dick Cheney's still alive. Anyway,
He doesn't
they-
have any heart?
They took out his heart and they like replaced it with a robot heart. Do you not remember this?
I guess I didn't think it was so literal.
I believe. I mean, look it up. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe Dick Cheney does have a robot heart.
Oh my god. That's
Anyway.
terrifying.
There's an interview of him on The View, like kind of saying it very matter-of-factly. He's like, yeah, so they had to put a machine in there so that blood would get to my vital organs. And then he kind of smiles.
Okay. So mom...
Maybe I imagined all that. They fly to the moon. And I was very pleased that they were visiting the farmer from episode 2 of the original season
Yes.
and his 3 robot daughters.
They are doing a lot of
His 3
that.
beautiful robot daughters.
They're doing a lot of that this season. They're like they're hearkening back to like the very beginning. The
Are you
writers
excited
clearly...
to see the whale biologist, for example? The whale
Oh,
biologist
wait.
who hates
I hate
whales.
bears.
But now he hates
yeah,
bears.
yeah.
We're glad you found an animal you like. Nope, still looking.
Nope.
So this moon farmer, he is very anti-Mamazon because the headquarters, the warehouse, is right in his view, and it's ruining the moon's natural ugliness.
I'm conflicted with the moon farmer because
because of his hat.
Yeah, because of his hat. He's for small business, but he's also wearing a hat that says "The moon shall rise again."
Oh, yeah.
Which is it's actually a funny double entendre once I said it out loud, but it's also a play on, Dixieland.
Didn't he take the hat off and throw it down on the ground? Did he ever put it back on? Maybe this was Futurama shedding its past. But is he wearing it again when he's at the town meeting or whatever?
I don't know. He stomped on his hat the first time we saw him, but I think it was just a plain old hat. It didn't have a political statement on it. That was before we announced our political biases on our head.
So the Moon Man invites the Planet Express crew to a protest that he admits will probably not do anything. So they go to the Moon Hall, which I guess is like a town hall. And we have some more old and Westy stuff, even though we had an old Westy episode already. But my favorite was there was a building next to the Moon Hall that sells Earthshine instead of moonshine.
Isn't that just the theme park?
No, it wasn't the theme park. This was like a town. I think the Moon
Old
theme park.
Westy because
The Moon theme park is not Old West. Wait, is it? Because you're right, the mascot was there.
It is oldie. I think they're just in the Moon theme park. I think Moon Hall is part of the Moon theme park.
Okay. I guess
like
that's
a
true.
Historical. Anyway, go on. They're at Moon Hall.
The hick man with the hat.
Whoa.
I mean, he's racist. I can call him a hick, right?
Yeah.
The hick man with the hat.
The cracker.
I guess we could call him a cracker. That's probably fine. The cracker with the hat is giving a speech about small business. And he's like, what am I going to do to support my 3 beautiful robot daughters? And they announce that they are going to go to work at Mamazon.
Right.
And they're out of there.
The Crushinator bursts through the front of the building, and a man says...
The sheriff. The sheriff that's Gomer Pyle says, well, I wonder how she even got in here.
She burst out the door.
I think he says, makes me wonder how she got in here.
Yeah.
They keep making little asides that are for the audience that are
There's a couple of them this episode.
Yeah. I love it. And he's Gomer Pyle for some reason because some people are still hearkening back to the Andy Griffith Show in the Futurama writing room.
I have zero knowledge of the Andy Griffith Show. All I remember is the whistle theme song, because that's when I would turn off the TV.
And I know, well, golly.
That's a banger.
Can you whistle, Alaska?
Alaska, can you whistle? Oh, that was very nice.
Very impressive. So, okay. They go to the Mamazon. No, wait. There's one more speaker, and it's Mom. And she goes up and she speaks a pro-Mamazon speech. And she bribes everyone by giving them invasas, which are like Alexas, but they're shaped like Mom.
Okay, I'm going to derail this just for a moment. Now, I have my issues. I have my issues with certain episodes of South Park. There was a long time I really liked South Park, and then they did their like 4th or 5th transphobic episode, and I was like, "Why are you so bothered? Why are you so obsessed with me?" And so I fell out with South Park, but South Park I do credit for teaching me just how insidious freemium gaming is, when I was addicted to the Simpsons tap game. Because lots of my housemates are uncomfortable with my Alexas in the house, but I really like them because you can just say, blah, 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 play this, blah, 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 play this. But I do get a little freaked out that, like, I have a conversation, in my room and my Alexa. Next thing I know, I'm getting suggestions about things related to things. And I'm like, they really are. They're listening. They're really
That shit's
listening.
real.
And so this
What
episode...
gets suggested to you? Diarrhea medicine?
Listen, give me a little while to work on this bit, and I'll come back to it.
You're workshopping bits? You told us that we have to hurry this episode. You literally told us you were on a time crunch. You were the one with the heart out.
I didn't
we have
realize
a lovely guest here, and you're trying new bits.
I didn't realize I was workshopping a bit until...
Alaska, in fairness, do you have any new bits you would like to try?
No, but I do think these shows do, sort of serve as an educational thing. Like some people don't even think like, oh, there is a machine listening to me. They just see it as a convenient thing. But also our phones are listening to us, so it doesn't matter if you have an Invasa or not.
That's why the end of the episode is so poignant and prescient. But let's get to
we
the
can't talk about that
end.
yet.
Prescient and poignant.
So Fry is still suspicious about the conditions of the Mamazon warehouse, and Mom offers him, Leela, and Bender a tour of the facility.
You
and we
won't
see
find
inside...
anything there except every item in existence.
And now they're like, okay, so the Planet Express crew knows Mom well. When she gets to the factory with them, you'd think she'd just take the suit off. She doesn't like wearing the suit. They've seen her without the suit countless times. Why is she keeping up the I'm not evil act
For the
around
robots?
her arch nemesis? Maybe for the
robots.
robots. Maybe.
Working at the center, yeah.
Sure.
I think it makes sense.
All right.
So they go in and we see it, and it's just so many robots, so many boxes. Bender looks on and he says, "Wow, robots," which I thought was funny. And Mom says, yes, they're much better than unions. I mean, humans.
Damn.
There's some like good commentary in here, and it's not too, it's actually funny.
It's actually
Spoonful of sugar with your political commentary.
That's good satire.
As they're trying to leave, they find out, they're getting kicked out, and they find out that they are being kicked out by the newest employee of Mamazon, Bender.
Saw that coming a mile away.
Really? I was shocked. I gasped.
No,
I fell out of my
you
chair.
didn't. Everyone's working there. She controls all the robots anyway. At any moment, I don't even know why she went through the pretense of like, robots, come work for me. It's fun. She could have just pushed a button and made all the robots come work for her.
That is very
Obedience
true.
units or whatever. Yeah. Well, they're kicking him out, and it's pretty clear that Bender's doing this because he's jealous of Leela being the new roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they.
So he goes
now
to
he's
work
gonna
at
work,
Amazon.
Yeah, now he's gonna work at Mamazon.
Look, I know some people.
Alaska, Mamazon. This is a hypothetical thing. Nothing could ever be this insidious and this ethically gray in our world.
In real life.
Real life.
Fry is devastated at the loss of Bender, but Leela's pretty nonplussed. They're back at the apartment.
Her response is, "Goodbye, Bender. We'll always miss you." Leela's response is, "Huh?" "Our door is always open to you." And then 15 doors shut.
So they're back on the couch at the apartment, and the Invasa starts acting a little funny. It starts suggesting orders to them, but it's like mishearing them, so it's suggesting the wrong things. But this does inspire them to just buy a bunch of stuff, and we get a funny online shopping montage, which I liked. My favorite part was when it delivered the fridge and it broke the window, and then there was a new window inside the fridge. What was your favorite part of this montage?
My favorite part was Fry saying, "Invasa, play shopping music."
Ooh, you know what's really good shopping music is Remember on the Wii Shop when you went on there to get your games.
Alaska, what was your favorite part of the shopping montage?
Well, I love that they're infinitely wealthy in this episode.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Well, they made a point to say their Mom Mazan's prices can't be beat.
Also, they're saving so much
they're
money
buying,
because
like,
they
40
have...
beds.
They're saving money
17
because
couches.
Leela's not renting her expensive cube apartment anymore.
Right. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yes.
They
I
always
like when
have just enough money.
I like when they get the diarrhea medicine and Fry's like, "Is that yours?" And she's like, "No, I use a different brand."
That's a great joke.
That's funny.
So they order a bunch of stuff. Back at Mamazon, Bender is getting used to his job. I laughed at the tiny air balloon joke. You have to put one tiny air balloon in all of your Amazon
for no
orders.
reason.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's
put
a
the
running
tiniest
gag.
item in a huge box.
Like at the end when Mom and the sons like burst out of the box, there's like one tiny air balloon in there.
That's
It was a
my
good,
favorite.
Yeah,
it was a
that's
good
funny.
running gag.
They all look so evil, but the one balloon falls out with it.
But for what it's worth, Bender does seem to like his job. And then we go check in on the sons, the aforementioned sons. I know one of them is named Ignor, but I can't remember the other.
He's the youngest one who is also the professor's son. And then the other ones are like, what? Hubert and Floyd.
Dagwood and
Dagwood.
Jughead.
Betty, Veronica. I keep getting lost in my notes.
It's okay. Work
thank
through
you.
it. Sound them out.
Thank you for reassuring me. I really
Read
needed
it slowly.
Mom reveals that Invesa is also an AI, and it's going to start ordering things for people before they know they want them. And the sons each get a package of slap bomb.
Slap bomb.
What do we need this for?
Wapow, wapow, wapow. And then in her momentum, she accidentally slaps Invesa. And then you see that
And
Mom is
apologizes.
very... Yeah, she apologizes to Invesa because she is very, very proud of this. She's very proud of this invention of hers. And, you know, Mom is a very vain woman. And if this is a creation of hers and it's like better, it's doing better than her sons ever did. It's more like her in every way. So, you know, she's gotten emotionally attached to Invesa.
I like the design. The design of the Invesa is quite pretty. They show it sort of in 3D, and it's actually very beautiful. It's kind of like a heart. It's kind of like her head.
It's kind of like
It's
a
got
thick
the-
dildo.
It's the Bram Stoker's Dracula face.
Very, very that.
It's giving
nice blue screen.
Ashley O little robot version
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Black
yeah.
Mirror.
Very that. Yes.
So Bender, just as it seems like he's really enjoying this job, he tries to leave and he can't leave and he gets hypnotized by the teenage robot who is his manager for some reason.
Yeah, it's a virus. I guess because Mom broke that remote that controls all the robots so long
broke the
ago,
remote.
she just never made a second one. So now she has to take them over with a virus. But
Right.
The point is that Mom controls the robots, whether she uses that to her benefit most of the time or not is irrelevant.
But luckily, Bender is able to break through the hypnosis and send a help me note to Fry and Leela.
By the way of diarrhea.
By the way of the diarrhea medicine, yes. So they go back to the moon and they find out the Mom headquarters, it's expanding, you know. Mamazon is expanding so much that it has lifted up the farmer's dome and it's at like an angle, so his tractor like flips over because it can't drive at that angle.
So they try to blast their way in and it doesn't work. And then the professor says, "We can't get in. There's no hope. We'll never be able to get our way inside." And then Mom goes, "We're inside now." And then Professor goes, "I knew we could do it." So good.
There's a moment before that where Fry says, "Ready to fire on your command," and Leela says, "Fire," and he says, "What?"
Just the most incompetent crew. Now,
And we grazed over the fact that they went into mom's office and mom can't control it anymore. So now she has to team up with them.
as always, the AI has realized that the humans are optional and or obsolete. So the mom AI, with the drive and ambition of mom at its processing core, the AI is on a quest for universal domination. And we established that it can grow and just kind of absorb things into it.
Yes. It's because it's made of self-replicating nanoparticles, which Professor looks at with his long glasses. So basically, the Mamazon headquarters is expanding and it's expanding, and we realize it's not a dome, it's in fact a sphere. It starts floating off of the moon. Suddenly it says, big as the moon. There's 2 moons, and back on Earth, we watch the funniest news segment maybe ever on Futurama, where they are talking about how the 2 moons are fucking with the tides, but also creating very confused werewolves. And we see a graphic of a werewolf shrugging, like he doesn't know if he's supposed to change or not.
Then the tides start coming in. Linda starts laughing until she gurgles because they're being overcome by the... They're being overcome by the tide. Then the station cuts out and Zoidberg says, weird, they just sat there and let it happen.
Which I laughed so hard at. And then seconds later, their window bursts and they are swept away in the water. I think that was the funniest 20 seconds of the episode. That was my favorite.
Makes me wonder how she got in here. Anyway.
So they're still inside the Invasa. Mom and her kids go to the Invasa's core, which is kind of giving a Cerebro, Star Warsy.
Cerebro.
Yeah. And she, for a moment, is about to shut down Invasa because she's like, it's out of control. It's taking all my money. And then one of the sons is like, it's not taking your money. And Invasa's like, what's money? I just want to grow. So she realizes that she's not going to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, then it kind of makes you realize that mom what she didn't like was being locked out of the program. But when she realizes that the program is only serving her, then she decides not to turn it off. That makes sense. But it's also kind of it kind of makes you think, mom's not even as smart as we think. Everyone's dumb.
She's not a scientist per se, right? She's just a business lady. She always had to get Professor
she's an evil
to do her
genius.
scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone just kind of stumbles. I feel like Mayor Poopenmeyer is not a very good mayor, I'm going to guess.
Is he still the mayor? How is he surviving all these re-elections? He's a terrible mayor. Don't vote for Poopenmeyer.
Don't put up with his shit.
Ooh, really good campaign slogan.
Okay.
You gotta do some Oppo research on Poopenmeyer.
So, mom and her sons get delivered in a box with one tiny air balloon, and they say, so did you do it? Did you shut her off? And mom goes,
no button.
no off button, let's go. And everyone's just okay with that. And they're like, they tried, and now they're gonna leave.
They do a Google Maps joke to find Bender, and this actually reminded me of a bit that you used to do, Jinkx, because it was in 30 meters, turn right sharply. Because remember, we used to joke that there should be a Jinkx, a Jinkx GPS.
Jinkx GPS that would go, it would go, in 30 meters, turn right sharply. Oh my god, turn right now! Turn right! Oh my god, that was it! Oh, you missed it! Anyway.
So they catch Bender, they bring him inside, and they're like, our only option is we've just got to try and fly right at the dome and see if we can break through the membrane again. But it's not working because the dome is expanding faster than they can fly. Which is sci-fi.
And then they say something like, how are we ever going to get home? Oh, there's Planet Express.
Because it just expands.
Because it just expands.
Expands all the way to Planet Express.
It expands
and they're
to
happy
the
for a
point-
second, but they realize that it's also blocking out the sun, so the entire planet is going to freeze to death.
Al
Until...
Gore comes by in his floating little hover
Oh,
jar.
Al Gore does float by.
He sticks it to them one more time. They say,
I told you
said
this was going to happen.
be global warming. And he said, I said it was a climate crisis. And then he zooms out of there.
That was probably... Was that actually Al Gore, you think? It was him in all the old episodes.
He's a big fan of the show.
I bet he did.
I don't know. Does he even sound like that anymore? He probably sounds like this.
Inconvenient truth. I was vice president in 2000. Wait,
Sure,
I think it
1999.
might have been him. Is he in the credits?
I don't know.
We'll have the
we
fact
don't do a lot of
checkers look into
research.
it. Yeah.
We refuse to do any research.
Honestly, sometimes I'm watching the episode until minutes before we record and still writing down these little summaries.
Oh, good.
You would never do that on Race Chaser, right, Alaska?
Mama.
No, never. No.
You
no,
always
no.
watch way ahead of time. You watch it several times. You take several rounds of notes.
Mama. Stop
So-
putting my friend on the spot.
Just when all hope seems lost, the dome expands so far that it envelops the sun, and it just sucks up the whole universe. And Professor's smelling around in his smelloscope, and he's like, yeah, it's just like this now.
It's just like this now. And then they're like, so we're trapped in this universe?
And Invasa says, it's my universe, you're just shopping in it, which I thought was pretty good.
Everything's going to be just as terrible as it was before. And then they all celebrate.
They all cheer, yeah. That's a very good quote for our times, because like whenever things don't get worse, I feel like we celebrate as a society.
Oh,
Right.
thank God. But you know, it's like, it is, here's why I liked the ending, because that is exactly where we are right now, where it's like, we can see the systems that are bad.
Mhm.
We can see the way our world is dependent on systems that are fundamentally flawed and exploitative and oppressive, and yet we are so deep into it that how do we unplug now?
Right.
And
Interesting if true.
and with Ronan like exposing that the US government is basically like in Elon Musk's pocket, like, what do we do now? What do we
Wait,
do
that
now?
happened?
He has a lot of military contracts, and he's also like
Lex
DMing
Luthor
Putin.
is in
so, yeah.
charge of our country now. Like, why?
Which we all
That
suspected.
makes me feel
but,
angry.
I mean,
It does make me feel angry.
right. So it's like, yeah. What do we do?
Oppression episode for these times, I think.
Prescient.
Prescient, poignant, and pregnant.
So I think that's about the end of the episode. Any final gags that we skipped over that are worth mentioning?
I think I got all the ones that felt
We were pretty
important to me. Alaska, so we got your thoughts on how
I don't
this
remember
season is
any
going
of the
so
end of
far.
that. I don't remember any of the end of that episode. I think I might have fallen asleep,
It ended pretty abruptly.
which I've never done on Race Chase or for Drag Race.
It's impossible to
At least
sleep
it's
during
Drag Race, though. You have an encyclopedic knowledge of 1 through 10 at least, right?
Right. I've fallen asleep during a lot of the new Futurama episodes, and that's not a reflection on this season. I think I just watched them late at night.
Well,
So I need to review. My notes, but I knew they ended up trapped in the giant universe that is Alexa.
that's pretty much
which
it. Is that
or
they are just
invasive.
now.
I think
They're
you saw
at
the
the-
whole thing, Alaska. You should give yourself credit. I think that's just the end of the episode.
They're now at the mercy of Invasa to an extent, but all she wants to do is provide rock bottom deals at a quick and efficient pace.
Yes.
I don't know.
And somehow Planet Express is still in business as
But here's because they put everything out of business, but somehow Planet Express they'll just figure it out. And then also Bender got freed from the warehouse, but I guess the robots don't need to work in the warehouse anymore because everything is the warehouse.
But if it's expanding so much, wouldn't you need more and more robots?
No, just more and more drones. Because
Drones are
the drones
robots.
can literally just pick them up from the store now and take it over to the person because everything's part of the store now.
What? What?
So for the
Where did
rest
they get
of
There's no
stuff
warehouse.
from?
The warehouse is the universe.
Where do they get the stuff then?
From where the stuff is.
So for the rest of Futurama, we have to have this in the back of our minds that they are in a giant Mamazon warehouse. Sort of like in The Simpsons, they moved the town over.
Yes.
We have to always consider that.
They moved it like 5 miles up the road because of the toxic waste situation, I believe.
Yes. We have to always consider that for the rest
Homer
of time.
became the trash commissioner.
The trash
Who
committee.
could take
The garbage
the trash
man.
Who could take a stinky diaper?
Alaska, we blazed through this episode, so with our additional time, I would love to just hear your various thoughts on the new season. Do you have any?
She already gave them.
I know, but we gotta get in depth.
I don't hate it.
Rank them. Rank the 5 episodes so far.
Did you
when
have
you
a
remember
favorite?
while you were awake.
No, don't do what Nick's saying. What's your favorite episode been so far? As a super fan, which one scratched your Futurama itch the best?
I think they're doing hold on, I'm looking up a list of the episodes. What are they? I know the first one was like, oh, we're streaming, we're on Hulu. Do you get it? We're on Hulu. Get it? But we're on Hulu now. Do you understand? Then there's the one about okay, here it is.
It was the West? Was that the second one? No, it was
the Bog
Kip's
Children.
kids. Kip and Amy's kids.
Oh wait, I'm looking at season 1. Okay.
Space Pilot 3000.
Impossible Stream, Children of a Lesser Bog. I think I like that one the most.
Oh.
It wasn't like, oh, we have to talk about like a topical thing that's going on like right now. It was just sort of like a timeless like episode about like, it was about their universe. It was about how they procreate. It was about Leela's like urge to like be mom-like, which I thought was really strong.
Who's your favorite of the Kif, Leela, Amy babies? Because there's the little one that doesn't talk.
Yeah.
There's the girly middle one, and then there's like the teenage apathetic one.
The goth one, yeah. I like
Yeah.
the goth one.
I think he's the runaway hit with everyone.
That's me. That's me.
He's
for
the
sure.
runaway hit.
I'm curious, like, when are we gonna see those kids again? Like, there's no reason for them to have been in this
Probably
episode.
as much as we see Dwight.
I guess so. Yeah, we haven't seen Hubert at all, have we?
Hubert, first of
Hubert,
all. And second of all, no, we haven't.
but we
Have
have
we?
seen Dwight.
No, we haven't.
No,
we
no
have seen
Hubert yet.
Dwight because apparently Hermes' and Dwight's relationship is very important.
Yes. Limbo and yes. Uh-huh. And the Wild West. Parasite.
and
The
the Wild
Parasites
West.
episode was really weird. It was really trippy, but it was supposed to be. It was the sort of psychedelic episode.
Do you like Dune, the movie?
No, I'm not aware of it. I'm aware of its existence, but I haven't seen it.
What? Who said that? Mariah Carey. I am not aware of who that is. Who said that? I don't know who that is. She said that about someone. Anyway, okay. Alaska, since you are a returning guest,
Mm-hmm.
and we really don't know which answers you gave to the questions the first time.
We don't remember anything.
Nor do I.
Yeah. So it'll be like it's all over again, and it would be fun if any of our like super fans of 40% podcast, if you exist, we know you exist because you're flooding Nick's DMs and he loves it. But we'll compare answers sometime. Someone will do.
We'll put them back to back. We'll see. We'll see if you're a liar, Alaska. Anyway. Wait.
Hey, let me ask you something.
All right, Alaska.
There she is.
Of everyone in the Futurama universe, who do you relate to the most at this point in time? Did she freeze?
I think she did.
Oh my god, she did. That's too good.
She's really thinking about it.
She's really thinking hard.
You froze. We lost you. What did you say?
We got it.
No, all I heard on my end was
Okay. The question is, who do you most relate to in the Futurama universe?
Leela. And I think I probably said that before.
Yeah.
But
even
Leela,
this new unhinged Leela?
no, well, that's why I have such a problem with her. I'm like, why are you moving in there? She's so like in control of everything, and so it just seems crazy to me that she would be like, I'm gonna move in with the two.
If you're a lot like Leela, I mean, it's really hard to think of like, you know, Leela or Alaska dating with or moving in with some kind of crazy, unpredictable person who's got a lot of rough edges. You know?
I know. I never do it.
Alaska, what did you think about when Leela let Nibbler eat that human being and sort of celebrated that the murder was being covered up by Nibbler?
I don't remember that. I might have fallen asleep.
It was the very beginning of the episode.
It was a throwaway bit. Nibbler ate a lawyer.
Nibbler ate a lawyer.
Full person. No, I did think like, oh yes, a complete person is now eaten, and we're just accepting this. It's 3023. Grow up. It's 3023.
Listen. Death is inevitable. It's either gonna be under a bus or from someone walking their pet. All right, Alaska. Next question
That
is...
just raises further questions.
Of the Futurama universe, who would you do?
Fry.
Drag queens
I don't
want to
move in with him. I don't want to move in with him.
Hit it
but
and quit
I
it?
do think he's really hot.
Friends with
You just
benefits?
want
Like,
to
what's
go.
your ideal setup with Fry?
No, I would even like probably date him, but separate residencies. Maybe this is just like how I have to operate.
That's
now.
very
I
Frida
just
Kahlo
need-
of you.
Is that what she does?
Well, she
Dolly
had a
Parton, I
house
think,
in-
also.
She had two houses and they were connected with a little bridge, and one was her husband.
Yes. And Helena
This-
Bonham Carter and Tim Burton divorced, but they still live next door to each other for their kids, or they did for a long time for their kids, so their kids just could go back and forth.
Is it those two meme houses in Santa Monica, the black one
Yeah.
and the pink
Which
one?
one of them would be in the pink one? They'd both
Weirdly,
live-
Tim Burton.
Weirdly, actually, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton makes more sense because there's a Pee Wee's Playhouse element to it, so he could lean into that. I don't see Helena living in that pink house.
All right.
Wait, was that the end of the questions? Is there one more?
No,
Wait.
there's one last question, but it's
That
pretty.
just raises further questions.
It's pretty useless. Are you gonna watch more Futurama after this?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm in it. I can't wait. Every single episode. So the next one is a Christmas episode, which I'm looking forward to that.
Wait, you're looking forward to that
I
one?
hate the Christmas episodes.
I think Robot Santa is a creative creation, and I think that I like that whole lore. So I like that. And then the one after that is a pandemic episode, which I'm like, does every episode have to be about a topical thing? Just make fun of Star Trek storylines.
There's a lot now.
Well, they did this in the previous reboots where they were like, we have an episode about the iPhone, we have an episode about the podcast, we have an episode about this and that.
I think they're kind of doing what you were saying about with And Just Like That. It was kind of like, okay, so And Just Like That had to recognize that Sex and the City, a show about 4 affluent, beautiful, thin white women living their best lives, maybe isn't as doesn't welcome in as many people these days. So season 1 felt very clunky as they tried to kind of like update the structure of the show and the premise of the show, but at the same time it's kind of like, what else do you expect them to do? Continue to work under a model, like a show model that they know is outdated? Like, they're going to have to be clunky to get to a place where it makes any sense today, as they transition.
We talk about Sex and the City so much on this fucking Futurama podcast. I'm just calling it right now. If we ever run out of episodes, we're not going to do The Simpsons. We're not going to do Disenchantment. We're going to do Sex and the City. I'm saying it right now.
I don't want to.
In 10 years,
I
we're
hate
gonna
how
do
much
Sex
I
and the
know
City.
about Sex and the City. I hate it. I hate how much I watch that show.
So everybody set your alarms for 10 years from now. I'm 40% podcast, Sex and the City season 1. That's when we start.
If they're not just following me around to get material for Miranda, I swear to God.
Miranda was always pansexual. If you go back to season 1, which I downloaded a bunch for a plane ride, she's always been pansexual. The thing, like, literally, it's always been that. So I'm glad that, like, she is now.
Yeah.
Important question: is Michael Steve or Che Diaz? Answer honestly.
Michael.
How's he finger?
How's he finger? Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Michael is more Steve than Che Diaz, but I think he's more Aiden than anything else.
Aww.
Because he's making little crafts?
No, replace crafts with music.
Then shouldn't you be comparing him to that like jazz musician that she dated for 3 episodes?
No, we're moving on. Miranda, why you always bringing up topics I said I don't want to talk about on the podcast? Alaska, thank you so much for joining us today. Please plug all your podcasts. You have many. You have a whole network. You own 51% of this company. Don't fuck with you, fellas.
Yes.
Plug away, baby.
It's expanded and now the whole universe is within it.
It was within Mom.
Yes. Race Chaser with Alaska and Willem is every Wednesday, and we talk about RuPaul's Drag Race, old and new. And then we have Hot Goss on Friday, and then we have Unplugged on Monday. And Hi Jinkx is also a high quality mom podcast program.
The sister podcast. Alaska, and everyone can follow you they're probably already following you, let's be real, but if they aren't, it's at Alaska, I'm sure.
Alaska,
the only Alaska, right?
Actually, I should change it to Alaska, I'm sure.
5000. I'm Alaska,
I'm sure. It's the only Alaska 5000 on Instagram. Alaska, I'm sure. Charmed, I'm sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Listeners, we will be back next Monday for a brand new episode of...
Christmas episode.
In the middle of the fall. We'll be back next week for brand new I'm 40% podcast. Until then, have a futuristic day, everybody.
The clamps!
Wow.